Hey, you guys. Happy full moon. How are you? Woo! With that eclipse of Mercury. Well, Mercury was eclipsed. It was conjunct the sun. And that full moon, man, I needed this full moon so badly. Such a relief. If I were a smoker, I'd be smoking a cigarette. That's how good this full moon was. Wow, I don't even know where to begin. But what a fun week already. I mean, what is today? Today's Tuesday. How much fun was it? Friday night, late night, early morning, streaming with House of Lennerman, Becca, and Yoda, and Mom. Oh my God, those ladies went almost 5 hours live stream. Thank you so much for hosting that, Becca, Yoda, Mom. That was a lot of fun. I think a lot of us were looking forward to that. And thank you so much for answering my questions about the YouTube. Wow. Lots of fun discoveries. Lots of fun discoveries with you guys. From Veselnitskaya stood out in the... Oh, I don't have Sage with me, so I'm not even talking about that. And then... J&J, Sunday nights, how hilarious fun was that? That chat was flying. It was on fire. Could not even keep up with it at all. I went back and I had to watch J&J, Jen and Johnny, without the chat because I'd get sucked right back into that. I don't get the House of Lennerman system. I just want to say... You guys have cards that say whips. Whips. What is going on in those houses and whips? I don't know. So, we had a full moon. I am telling you, I needed this so badly. I was just like the last 2 mornings when I've gotten up, I have just been so relaxed, comfy, especially today, and I know it was this full moon, where I just felt like I was in a nest with my blankets and just kind of not swaddled, but almost adult swaddled in my blankets. And, my bed was just so, like, perfect comfortableness, perfect warmth. I wasn't sweaty. I wasn't cold. Like every single toe of mine, my feet were everything was warm, nothing hurt. I just wanted to cuddle up in bed and just stay there because it was just one of those things where you just are laying in bed and you're just like smiling because you're like, I feel so good and I don't have to be anywhere. No one's bothering me. Nobody needs anything. I can just chill. But that was the full moon. I just feel like these planets in Scorpio with, the sun and Mercury especially, when we had Venus there for a while, have been doing so much hard work and clearing out stuff beneath the surface. It's been a bit exhausting because we can all feel the intensity of it. And when you have planets in Scorpio, they change things, and they change things permanently. And with this Mercury retrograde, you couldn't see what it was because here's the thing. The Mercury was ahead of the sun. So now Mercury is behind the sun. Before this full moon, see, like right now, the sun is at like 19 degrees Scorpio. Before this moon, Mercury was ahead of the sun, doing all of its work. Well, it's like we could see it doing stuff, but we couldn't. And actually, even though it's ahead of the sun, as the sun is moving forward, Mercury seems to trail it. Does that make sense? Even though it's ahead of the sun by certain degrees, like because it was like at 29 degrees Scorpio, and it went retrograde, 29, 20, 27, blah, 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 blah. So it's, even though the sun's been moving forward, Mercury has been behind it, working very close. It's been conjunct. That's why we could feel it, but we couldn't really see it. Well, with this Mercury eclipse, it was an eclipse for the planet of Mercury. It joined the sun and it moved behind in degrees. So it's at 17 degrees. The sun is at 19 degrees. But even though it's behind in degrees, as the sun goes around the earth, remember this is the eastern horizon, the highest point of the day, and then it sets over here. Mercury is ahead of the sun. So Mercury is actually combust now, meaning the sun rays kind of burn it up. And by burning it up, it's lighting everything up now. So Mercury was in the dark behind the sun, working on all this stuff. It conjuncted the sun, it's ahead, and we can see everything now. And it's like things are permanently changed. On top of it, Mercury transited the sun. It went in front of the sun. It was like an eclipse. And I can definitely feel the finality of that. And Donald better be worried. All of them. Because Donald, Pence, Barr, they're all Geminis, and their ruling planet is Mercury. And so Mercury was doing its work behind the scenes for a long time, and now it was eclipsed. Everything is out in the wide open. Jim Jordan, you can have a dozen Jim Jordans not wearing their jackets, and they cannot raise enough upheaval of a circus to nobody can overcome this. And I think with this full moon, I don't know if you guys can feel it, it's like the lid's been removed. The coffin has been opened. The light is inside. We can see what's going on. You can't put that stuff back. There's going to be, again, so much discussion about his finances and gains in money and where they're kept overseas, because in the first house over Washington, D.C. with this full moon, this is Donald's ascendant. He has to deal with money, women, the law in places far away. That's not going away, and it's been just like permanently revealed. This is not like an eclipse click like from our eclipses, but Mercury, the messenger, the one who has electronic documents, the one who has agreements. Yeah, that is all open. It's permanently open during this next cycle until Mercury and the sun become conjunct again around January 10th. Holy cow, you guys. Just let this stuff work out. I know it's been really intense, but there's really good stuff happening. And then when I look over here at the second house of income gains, Saturn is next to Pluto. And what leapt out to me with the Saturn-Pluto here, Saturn being obstacles, Saturn is the major arcana card, is the devil. It just, William Barr leapt out at me again. And then Pluto is the card, the major arcana is judgment. I feel like ever since Jeffrey Epstein was suicided, and I did the forensic horoscope on how that happened, Saturn, the devil, was Barr. We have Pluto, which is judgment. Remember how I was just talking about how these planets rise and either they're protecting or shielding, like Mercury was over here. It was like behind the sun, like we couldn't see it. It's kind of how this Pluto is to me. The Pluto is behind Saturn. It's judgment. If Saturn is obstacles, I feel like this is Bill Barr being the obstacle to judge Donald. And if this is in the second house of income and gains and value, this is Bill Barr has been the perpetual obstructioner. But here's the thing with this full moon. We have Mars now in the 10th house, the public house where everyone can see everything. It's 25 degrees Libra. Libra has to, the major arcana is the justice card, the scales of justice. Mars is working really hard to expose that. Well, we have Saturn and Pluto now conjunct here at 16 and 21, but now Mars has moved past all that riffraff. In these later degrees, it's kind of like Mars has a final say. You can obstruct judgment, but I'm going to still work here. The universe is saying we are working on the scales of justice. Here's the thing that I love. Look at this. 25 degrees Libra. You've maybe heard me talk a lot about the 25th degree when it comes to Donald. I think this last quarter moon, we had 25 degrees Libra was on the ascendant. And so there'd be more irritating and nuisance about Donald's money news. Well, when we look at his natal chart, that is because, look what's at 25 degrees Cancer. Venus, his money. Look what's at 23 degrees Cancer. That's Saturn, remember? Okay, so like I told you how Barr is blocking judgment of anyone getting into Donald's finances as the planets spin, as the world turns. Barr is obstructing. For Donald's lifetime, his Venus, his money, in his house of hopes, wishes, Saturn is leading his Venus once again. This old money that has an obstruction so nobody can ever see his money. See that? So now we have 25 degrees Libra, an exact square, this transit Libra, 25 degrees, an exact square, irritating that, squaring that Venus. This is really conflict and fighting. This is not tension where you have to pick one side or another. This is fighting energy. Well, not only do we have that, we have at 24 degrees Cancer here, this is called the Vertex, Vertex, 24 degrees. 24 degrees sounds familiar. It's because the July 16th eclipse was at 24 degrees Cancer. The sun was at 24 degrees Cancer. The moon was at 24 degrees Cancer. I called it the can opener. I don't know if you remember that. I called it the can opener eclipse because all this time, Donald's money, 23 degrees Cancer has been Saturn. 25 degrees Cancer is his money. 24 degrees is just this little opportunity, this small little window of where we can open up and see his money. And when we had that eclipse, I was like, this is like a can opener. Finally, we've got a wedge in there and we can open things up and see about his money. Which didn't mean we'd get it right that day. It meant that the window was open, which was going to lead to the door opening, which was going to lead to everything opening up. And here we go. Mercury was eclipsed, yes. But this sets the stage to continue working and working and working away, grinding away and opening up that opportunity. Because now the vertex is at 24 degrees. The vertex, it's a point that is calculated on the descendant with the ecliptic. I don't know if it's from the eclipse or just the current path. But anyways, it's a mathematical point. The vertex is what you see like with karma, or I liken them to like coincidences or like fate. It's just kind of like the vertex is like when you have something so serendipitous happen. It's just kind of like, it's like a pivot point, like an axis pivoting on each other. And where they pivot, it's like that's where things come in by chance. I know that when I met my husband, we were in New Orleans. That was a lot of fun. Found out we only lived 20 miles away from one another. And that was a crazy weekend because I saw people from college and I saw people from elementary school and high school. And we saw a guy from, listen to this. I've never told anyone this. I've never been allowed to, I've kept this secret. We were at the pool, my friend and I, because it was like a girls' weekend away. And I came a little bit late because I'm always kind of late to these things. And she is like, you know, just at the pool, and I come up and I sit down. She's like, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. She's like, you see that guy over there? I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's so-and-so. That's Ron from college. I'm like, really? Yeah. She's like, look, he's not wearing his wedding ring. He wasn't wearing his wedding ring. And he and the guys were like sitting there talking about how they were at this bar and it was like a wet t-shirt, whatever. And so we totally busted him. Didn't say a word. But yeah. And then he's like, oh, please don't say anything. Well, we didn't. Well, anyway, they ended up getting divorced. This was a long time ago. But that weekend was just like a crazy weekend like that. And then I met my husband. They weren't even supposed to be there. They were long story short, they weren't even supposed to be there. There were like 20 of them. And all of his friends were such gentlemen in one of the kind of sleaziest places. It was such a statement of character. But anyway, Vertex, that's where opportunity happens. And that Vertex is being squared by Mars. So opportunity, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to open wide up around Donald's money. Oh my God, am I still talking? 16 minutes, I haven't even thrown a card. So, I did, where is it? Yesterday, I got started on the Tarotstrology, and I recorded some things. I am telling you that Esper is dirty, dirty, dirty. Lots of things I want to talk about here. I want to throw some cards because where's this Eight of Cups? Donald and Barr in the 12th house of secrets and hidden enemies, they both drew the Eight of Cups this full moon, which means I don't think they're walking away from something or changing plans. I think they're setting something up. Just a second.